We live in a world drowning in $300 trillion of debt, a number so massive it's triple the entire global economy.
I declare bankruptcy!
But wait, if every country, every bank, every person owes money, who's left to collect? Our system was never built on wealth, it was engineered on debt. And once I show you how this machine really works, you'll never look at money the same again. Before the spreadsheets, before Wall Street, before national debt clocks ticking like time bombs, debt was just trust. Thousands of years ago, it wasn't about dollars or gold. It was your neighbor lending you a bag of grain, expecting you to return it after harvest, maybe with a little extra as thanks. That was debt, a simple promise, nothing more, nothing less. Then, kings discovered that promises could build empires. Castles, ships, wars, all paid with borrowed money. In 1600s England, King Charles II was broke but needed to fund a war. So he did something revolutionary. He sold bonds to the public. Citizens hand over cash, the crown promised to pay it back with interest. That one idea, public debt, changed history forever. By the 20th century, debt fueled everything. World wars, rebuilding nations, even prosperity. Then came 1971, when President Nixon ended the gold standard. Money stopped being backed by gold. If you've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you probably already knew this. And for the first time in history, it was backed by nothing but belief. Fiat money. Yes, I know you crypto nerds know what I'm talking about. The government could print as much as it wanted, and they did. Fast forward to now, every country owes money. Japan owes twice its entire economy. The US owes $38 trillion and counting. Germany, China, India, Qatar, none are debt-free. The world collectively owes more than $300 trillion. That's over 3 times global GDP. But here's the twist. If everyone's in debt, who's everyone even borrowing from?
Hey, Jerry, you better yell! Show me the money! Show me the money!
Who's on the other side of that ledger? Because if the world owes $300 trillion, someone, somewhere is the creditor, right? Now stick with me because I'm going to give you that answer in just a second. Let's be real, governments borrow for the same reason people do. They want things now, not later. But when they overspend, they can't just cut the cable bill, they literally borrow billions. Sounds reckless, I know, but it's actually how modern economies grow. Think about it. A government collects taxes, say $3 trillion, but needs $4 trillion for healthcare, education, infrastructure, defense, and all those free services we take for granted. Raising taxes? Political suicide. Cutting spending? Protests overnight. So they borrow. Problem solved, temporarily.
It's free real estate.
But it's not just desperation. Debt creates growth. Borrow $1 trillion to build roads and schools, and suddenly people have jobs, companies profit, tax revenues go up, and guess what? The economy grows faster than the debt, at least in theory. In 2020, COVID shut down the world. The US borrowed $3.8 trillion in 1 year, nearly 20% of its economy, just to keep things from collapsing. And it worked. The economy rebounded, people spent again, and the stock market soared. Debt wasn't the villain, it was the oxygen tank. Even China, the supposed symbol of financial discipline, funds nearly 1/5 of its government spending through debt. The US, 1 in every $4 spent is borrowed. This is how the system breathes, through loans, bonds, and big fat IOUs. Here's the irony. If government stopped borrowing tomorrow, everything would stop. Money would stop circulating, businesses would close, unemployment would skyrocket. Debt isn't just a problem. It's the foundation holding everything up. But if debt drives the world, the next question is, who's fueling it? Who's lending out all this cash? Because someone's collecting interest on $300 trillion. Well, let's pull back that curtain next. Here's the plot twist no one tells you. The world isn't in debt to some mysterious villain twirling a mustache in a skyscraper. The world is in debt to itself. Let's take the US as the prime example. $38 trillion in debt. Probably more by the time you're seeing this. Terrifying, right? But nearly 70% of that debt is owed to Americans. Citizens, banks, pension funds, insurance companies, all lending to their own government. When you buy a US Treasury bond, you're literally lending to America. Banks buy bonds, pension funds buy bonds. Even the Social Security Administration invests extra cash into government bonds to earn interest. As of 2025, that's about $7.3 trillion in intra-government debt alone. The government owes itself money. Weird, right? The rest, around 30%, is held by foreign investors. China holds about $700 billion. Japan nearly $1 trillion. But remember, China itself is in debt to its eyeballs, $18 trillion and counting. Their banks owe US debt, American banks owe Chinese debt, European funds own both, and everyone owns a slice of everyone else's IOU. It's one massive financial web. Money doesn't move in straight lines anymore, it moves in circles.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
A US pension fund buys a treasury bond, the government spends that money, the contractor gets paid, deposits the cash in a bank, that bank buys more bonds, money flows out, then back in, like blood through the veins of a global system. And that's why the world can owe $300 trillion and not collapse overnight. Because it's not one person's debt, it's everyone's asset. If you're still here and this is starting to make sense, hit that subscribe button, because once you understand this, the next part gets even crazier. So if the world owes the world and money just keeps circulating, what happens when the music stops? Well, that's where things get messy. Here's where the game gets dangerous. Debt works, until it doesn't. When used right, it's fuel. When abused, it's fire. Because every loan comes with interest, and interest demands payment. And when that payment starts eating a country's budget, things spiral fast. Sri Lanka is the perfect cautionary tale. In 2022, they defaulted on $51 billion in debt. Why? Because nearly every dollar coming in was already going out to pay old interest. There was nothing left for essentials. Healthcare, fuel, even food imports. The streets exploded with protests. The same pressure exists everywhere, even in rich countries. In the US, interest payments are now one of the largest budget expenses, competing with defense spending. Every dollar sent to creditors is a dollar not building a school, not fixing a bridge. And when investors lose confidence, they panic. Credit ratings drop, borrowing gets expensive. It's the same as your credit card. When you're maxed out, banks hike your interest rates, not lower them. Now imagine that on a global scale. Governments print more money to fix it and inflation takes off. Because once there are more dollars, your dollars are now worth, well, less. Venezuela tried this. Their currency became worthless. Prices doubled every few weeks. People needed backpacks of cash just to buy bread. That's the fine line the world walks right now. Borrow enough to grow, but not enough to drown. And as global debt hits $300 trillion, that line is thinner than ever. So the big question becomes, can the world ever escape this loop? Is being debt-free even possible anymore? Let's answer that in the final chapter. Alright, let's rip the band-aid off right now. No, the world can't be debt-free, and honestly, it shouldn't be. Debt at its core isn't evil. It's leverage, it's motion, it's what keeps money and opportunity flowing. If every country paid off its debt tomorrow, the system would collapse overnight. No bonds, no safe investments, pension funds would tank. markets would freeze. The entire machine would grind to a halt. Right now, your retirement account, your insurance, even your bank savings account, they're all tied to government bonds. That is the debt. It's not a separate monster, it's the backbone of modern finance. Countries like Macau have flirted with being debt-free, but they're small, casino-rich, and basically exceptions to the rule. For large economies, zero debt would mean massive tax hikes and brutal spending cuts, the kind that spark riots, not recoveries. So if debt isn't going away, the only thing that matters is how we manage it, because some countries handle high debt just fine. Like Japan, sitting over 260% debt to GDP, but stable. Why? Because their lenders trust them. Trust is the currency behind all currency. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The global system only works as long as people keep believing in it. If that belief cracks, if lenders stop lending, if trust fades, the $300 trillion house of cards collapses. So next time you hear the government's printing money or we're drowning in debt, remember, that's the system working. The question isn't when will it end, it's how long can we keep the illusion spinning? And if you made it this far, congrats. You're already ahead of 99% of people who have no clue how this works. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, hit subscribe, because I'm dropping gems like this every week. Until then, stay curious and don't forget to like and hit the bell before the debt clock ticks higher.